The reigning Big 12 Player of the Year is set to return to Texas Tech, and arguably the best returning sophomore guard in the entire country is also set to return to Texas Tech. With the addition of LeJuan Watts, do the Red Raiders have the best trio in all of college basketball? In today's video, we'll discuss a Field of 68 graphic that went viral on Twitter and why I think it's borderline disrespectful that the Red Raiders trio wasn't mentioned. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Red and Black Report. I am your host, RC Maxfield. Today's video is presented by Home Field Apparel. You can head on over to homefieldapparel.com and save 15% on your purchase. Everything you need for football season, basketball season, 15% off. Doesn't matter. Hoodie, hat, socks, whatever you want. Texas Tech vintage apparel. Home Field Apparel is the place for you, and it's 15% off when you use the promo code RBR15. All right. There was a Field of 68 graphic, and I know some of y'all aren't huge fans of Field of 68. I am, however. I think what they do for college basketball actually is really cool. I don't think that there's really another platform like them in the sense of the different voices. That being said, do I always agree with the said voices? Absolutely not. That being said, they put out an interesting graphic on X a couple of days ago. Let's go ahead and look at it, actually. And it's ranked these trios, okay? Obviously, these are them saying, hey, this is the best quartet of trios in college basketball. You've got Purdue, Houston, Florida, and Kentucky. First and foremost, no wrong answers here. I truly believe these four deserve to be in the conversation. So there is no shade whatsoever on these four trios from their respective schools. I mean, Braden Smith is an absolute dog, and he is the best guard in college basketball, full stop, in my opinion, right? I love Tugler at Houston. He is an elite defender. You've got Condon, you've got Lee coming in from Princeton, and then you got Boogie Flan down in Gainesville for the defending champs. You got Lowe, a Texas native, going from Pittsburgh to Lexington to play alongside Owe, a guy that may be the SEC preseason player of the year. We shall see, right? I did have an issue with this, and I get it. There could only be four on the graphic. I guess in theory you could put more, but they only had four on the graphic. In my opinion, it's blatantly disrespectful not to have Texas Tech on that list of options. You may ask yourself, RC, it's really not that big of a deal. I get that. But also at the same time, I think it kind of is, in the sense that a lot of the Field of 68 guys, they do love Texas Tech. That's the truth, right? But how are we still underestimating what Texas Tech has going into 2025 and 2026? Because this, to me, views Texas Tech in a light where it's like, in my opinion, Texas Tech is easily a top 7 team in the country in the preseason. I understand preseason rankings don't matter to some of y'all. They do to me, because that means you get better games in terms of what's going on in terms of national television. You get discussed more. You have a better chance to end up being a seed that is a difference-making seed. And overall, you are a true national championship contender. And Texas Tech is all of those things. Full stops. At least they should be in everybody's eyes that knows anything, an iota of college basketball, right? Just barely know anything, because you have JT Toppin. Obviously, the $4 million man. Everybody talked about him in terms of, he could have gone to the NBA, but instead he returned to Texas Tech for an absolute bag. And shout out to you, JT. You deserve it, my man. He should be, in my opinion, it's either him or Braden Smith. There's no other options, at least in my opinion, for who should be preseason National Player of the Year. That's it. Those two, okay? So in my opinion, you should be in the conversation to have the best trio, just from the standpoint of, if you have anybody competent next to JT Toppin, they should be in the conversation. You don't just have players that are just competent, however. You have Christian Anderson, the best sophomore guard in the country, okay? I know some people are going to say, it's Boogie Flan. I'll be honest with you. Go look at what Christian Anderson did in the NCAA tournament. It puts damn near any other freshman that was playing significant minutes to shame. He is the best sophomore guard in the country. So you pair that with JT Toppin. Now you just need an average player, alongside those guys. Just an average player. But instead, you have LeJuan Watts. Now, could this be D5? I know that's a sensitive subject for a lot of people in Red Raider Nation. I'm sorry to say those, well, one letter and I guess a number there, but putting them together, D5. I am sorry on that front. But you go and replace him with a guy like LeJuan Watts. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think LeJuan Watts is going to maybe be the caliber of player that D5 is, but I think his skill set is going to be more impactful for Texas Tech. And you may ask why. LeJuan Watts can be a primary ball handler. Okay, D5 can do too. LeJuan Watts, he can be a post player. So can D5. The area that LeJuan Watts is just absolutely better than D5, and I think it's pretty clear, is the defensive side of the floor. And that's the impact that Texas Tech needs, because you've got the guys like Luke Bamboye, you've got Tyree Bryant, you've got a guy like Donovan Atwell. Bryant and Atwell, respectively, ranked in the 80th percentile according to Synergy when it came to defense. LeJuan Watts is a pretty damn good defender as well, and he's versatile. Oh, by the way, he shot 40% from three, north of it, last year, albeit on limited attempts. He's also a really good passer. So you have a guy in LeJuan Watts coming in and joining two of arguably the most highly sought after players, or just, hey, yeah, we would build our roster around those guys in college basketball, and JT Toppin and Christian Anderson. You add a guy in LeJuan Watts who, according to multiple recruiting websites, was at minimum a top 20 player, on some of them as high as a top 12 player. Okay. You add that to JT Toppin, who, if he would have gone in the portal, he's easily the most highly coveted player in college basketball. You put Christian Anderson in there. If JT Toppin's not alongside of him, Christian Anderson is arguably the most coveted guard in the portal this past cycle. But instead, you keep those two guys, you retain them, and you go out and add arguably the best Swiss Army knife in terms of player skill set in this past portal class. Again, I'll put it on your screen in terms of the teams on here. This is not a disrespectful video to these teams. It's not. These are really good trios. That being said, Texas Tech 100% has to be in the conversation. Full stop. This is not a debate, okay? The only better player, arguably, than JT Toppin on this graphic in terms of impact is Braden Smith. That's it. JT Toppin and Braden Smith are the two clear best players in college basketball, okay? I don't know if it's debatable, truthfully, at least to me. So again, you have to have JT Toppin on there. Christian Anderson, if you put him on here, is one of the better guards that they have viewed, right? LeJuan Watts, one of the better players on here as well. Like, it's one of those deals where I get it. It's just a graphic, but to me, it more shows the fact where there's not a bias per se, but Texas Tech, again, is not getting the credit they deserve in terms of how sensational this staff was this offseason in terms of retaining talent and going and adding impact players in areas of need, most specifically LeJuan Watts. I mean, you could not have had a better replacement for D5 alongside JT Toppin and Christian Anderson. And I already mentioned the multitude of other guys that they landed in the portal in terms of Luke Bamboye, a guy that is a better version of Fetty. Right? You went out, and what was maybe the biggest complaint last year for really anybody on the Texas Tech side of things? It was perimeter defense. You go out and add guys like Donovan Atwell and Tyree Bryant that are athletic guards that can guard some wings, but also can guard guards on the perimeter and be impactful shooters on the opposite end. You got a really versatile player in Josiah Mosley, right? You obviously go out and add Jalen Petty. This team is very, very good, but it starts with the trio that you have at the upper echelon of all of college basketball, and arguably the preseason National Player of the Year, and JT Toppin. We'll figure that out here in a couple months. Arguably, in my opinion, he is the best sophomore guard in college basketball, and Christian Anderson, and one of the best Swiss Army type players in LeJuan Watts, who can absolutely do it all on both ends of the floor, whether it's down low on the block, whether it's out on the perimeter being a primary ball handler or shooting, or on the opposing side where he is trying to play absolute menace type defense. He can do it all. They should 100% be in this conversation. I get it. It's a graphic. It's not that serious at the end of the day. But I think it's serious in the sense of the national mindset around Texas Tech and not getting enough respect. This trio is absolutely ridiculous and arguably could go down I know this is getting ahead of myself a little bit, but I truly believe it. This trio could go down as the greatest trio in Texas Tech men's basketball history that played on the same team. Okay, because again, JT Toppin comes back. Christian Anderson is another year older. You go out and again, LeJuan Watts may not be exactly D5, but he's pretty damn close, and he brings certain skill sets that D5 just doesn't have, right? And there's some flaws to the LeJuan Watts game as well that D5 just doesn't have from a flaws perspective. But overall, this is one of the best trios, full stop, in college basketball and one of the best trios in Texas Tech men's basketball program history. And I am excited as hell to watch them in 2025 and 2026. Let me know if I'm overreacting, though, in terms of the disrespect narrative down below in the comments. I probably am, but damn it, I'm excited as hell about this Texas Tech men's basketball team. I think they're absolutely loaded, and this trio is where it all starts, in my opinion. But again, I'm RC Maxfield. Appreciate y'all tuning in to the Red and Black Report. One more shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Home Field Apparel. You can go to homefieldapparel.com. The link will be down in the comments and in the description below to get 15% off your entire purchase over at homefieldapparel.com when you use the promo code RBR15. Again, that promo code is RBR15. I'll let y'all know down in the comments as well, and leave the promo code down there. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. As always, y'all know how I end these. Stay safe and Recom Tech.